On this video, I want to talk about visceral fat because here's a funny thing to think about. We tend to just categorize the fat on our body just as all fat, but visceral fat is the fat that will kill you. And there is one thing in the world that feeds visceral fat more than anything. And I'm going to explain to you on this video what that is, how you can avoid it, and how you can recognize visceral fat and how you get rid of visceral fat. Because again, visceral fat is the one that you want to be focused on. So let's dive in. Okay, so for starters, visceral fat is the most unhealthy fat in your body, like I mentioned before. We are used to thinking of fat as being subcutaneous, meaning it's on the outside and we see it because we look at it and we're like, oh, I don't like the way that looks. So it really is like under the skin. So remember, there's like the skin and the muscle, and the visceral fat is right in the middle of that. I'm sorry, subcutaneous fat is right in the middle of that. And it's soft when you touch it, and typically it's distributed around your whole body. Visceral fat is very, very different. It is not soft and cushy like, your grandma who had a lot of subcutaneous fat and you snuggled next to her and she was all soft and like snuggly and cushy. Visceral fat is not that. Visceral fat is hard and it's dense and it builds up around your belly and it builds up around your organs and it's rigid. And it's this location of where it's at that makes it very dangerous because it is fat that is put in areas that are going to affect your survival. So, men have this a lot where all of a sudden they get a hard, bloated belly. And that is that visceral fat that it's not soft. It's like almost like a rigid feeling. And, today I really want to go into, I know a lot of women listen to my videos, but I know a lot of you have men in your lives. And I know a lot of men also listen to this. I do believe men get that visceral fat more than women around the abdomen. And a lot of times it's because of this one thing that we're about to go into. I want to answer this question. Why is visceral fat so bad? Well, one reason is because of the location in which it's stored. So we already talked about that visceral fat is stored around your organs and it's around your belly. But because it's dangerous in these locations because it releases a cellular waste product that dumps directly into your portal vein. Now, your portal vein, this one's, oh my gosh, this is going to blow your mind. We have not discussed this. I mean, briefly in maybe one of my books, but this is so important. The portal vein has many different functionalities, but one of it is that it goes directly to your liver from your small intestine. It is a communication line from your liver and to your small intestine and back again. And along this vein connection, microbes from your small intestine climb up to the liver and signal the liver to regulate blood sugar. So if your portal vein is filled with visceral fat, it can no longer help be a communication line from your small intestine to your liver, which means your blood sugar is going to get out of control. So those of you that are trying to get this metabolic switch down and you're trying to improve your metabolic health by fasting a little longer and you're struggling and you can't get your glucose to come down in the fasted state, the portal vein could be the problem. Or those of you who eat foods that seem healthy, but all of a sudden they spike your blood sugar, the portal vein could be the issue because it is the communication line for managing blood sugar from your small intestine, stomach area combo there to your liver. Now, in the terms of chronic disease, there is a 2008 study in Hepatology, it's a journal about the liver, found that visceral fat increased the risk of liver disease because it dumps a ton of triglycerides into your liver through the portal vein. So your fat, remember your fat is, they say your fat is an endocrine organ. It is a living thing. It's not just sitting there. And it's actually got a functionality. And one of the functions that it has is it's got toxins in it. Remember how I've taught you guys that fat is a storage pantry for toxins? Well, with visceral fat, you have all these toxins sitting there, and that just gets dumped through the portal vein into your liver, which all of a sudden increases your triglycerides. So if you're looking at your lab work and your cholesterol is too high and your triglycerides are too high, you're going to want to get rid of this one thing I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'm getting there. Don't worry. I just really want you to be motivated when I get there. So a 20,008 study in Clinical Cornerstone found that the visceral fat also physically compresses your lungs and your diaphragm while decreasing oxygen and nutrient delivery to your organs. This causes an increased risk in asthma and sleep apnea and other breathing problems. So this visceral fat, it's not like the fat you get around your chin or the fat on the back of your arm. This fat is dumping toxins into the portal vein. It's causing a lack of communication from your gastrointestinal system to the liver. It's causing increased pressure on your lungs and your diaphragm, and it's decreasing oxygen and nutrients to the rest of your organs, contributing to challenges with sleep and sleep apnea. It also is that visceral fat is one of the biggest predictors of heart disease and one of the biggest predictors of death. It is the one you want to get rid of. So, unfortunately, visceral fat is much more of a problem for men than women. This is why men store it in that bellies a lot more. And we do have visceral fat in women. We don't want to give up on that thought, or it's not like we got a free pass. And women going through menopause actually store visceral fat more during menopause because we become more insulin resistant through the menopause experience. And we've talked a lot about that. So, with all of that in mind, what's the number one thing? The number one thing is alcohol. Alcohol is the number one driver of visceral fat gain. It is a major, major cause. And there is a 2023 study in diabetes research and clinical practice that found there is a direct linear relationship between alcohol consumption and visceral fat. The more people drank, the more visceral fat they had. Drinking increases visceral fat equally in men and women. Now, I know you're going to ask me this. How much is drinking is too much? Well, we went back and found a 1996 study that was in a Journal of Obesity and Metabolic Disorders, and they found this was a woman study that women who drank 2 drinks a night put on more visceral fat than women who didn't. 2 drinks, that's 2 glasses of wine, that's 2 beers, that's 2 drinks. You gain more visceral fat. We also have a study that was done in 2023 that found binge drinking, having 5 drinks or more a night, was especially bad for visceral fat. So let's keep it under 5, and that was more done on men. And researchers aren't quite clear why alcohol specifically increases visceral fat, but the research is incredibly clear that if you want to get rid of belly fat, hello, the most common videos I've ever done on this channel are on belly fat, and you want to live longer, you should avoid even moderate drinking. I know I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but I want my videos to save your life. So there is a bit of good news here that one of the last and really interesting studies that I found was in the Journal of the American Heart Association. Here we go. Are you ready? Those of you that are like, hopefully if you're depressed and you're like, I hate this video, hopefully you didn't click off because this is good. This is good news. That 1 drink a night showed no increase in visceral fat. So we're back at dose matters. Dose matters. So like a glass of wine at night, have it with your food, have it with fiber, and it won't affect as much of the glucose. and your liver won't be as damaging on the liver. So look at the possibility that maybe you need, if you've been drinking 2 to 5 drinks a night and you're worried about chronic disease, you're worried about this visceral fat, you're worried about belly fat, how about we bring it down to 1 drink a night? And I know a lot of you have loved ones, send this that are experiencing this, send this video to them, because it's really about the dose. So let's get it down to 1 or none or every couple of nights. But this visceral fat is very damaging. Okay. Questions on fat specifically and losing belly fat. So I really want to dive into some questions that I had around belly fat. Belly fat has been the most common video that I've done for you all. So I want to make sure that we dive deeper into this belly fat issue, because it definitely seems to be one that is motivating to all of you. So this question is, I'm confused. Why do I either not lose weight or gain weight during a fast? Am I missing something or doing something wrong? Okay, if you're not getting a result with weight loss while you're fasting, I want you to think of a couple of things. First, you may need to go into a longer fast. So some of you need to try a 36, 48, 72-hour fast. If you are still going into those longer fasts and you are gaining weight, then the next thing you need to look at is opening up your detox pathways. I have done a lot of videos on that. I'm sure my team will link them here. This is where you look at castor oil packs and eating more fiber and lymphatic drainage and infrared sauna. In both Fast Like a Girl and Eat Like a Girl, I have lists of different ways that you can open up pathways. In fact, in Eat Like a Girl, I have an accelerated fat burning checklist in there. You are not doing something wrong. You either need to go into a longer fast or you need to open up your detox pathways. The third challenge with fasting and not losing weight or gaining weight could be your toxic load. So let's clean up the toxins you might be eating. So make sure you're doing the good oils. Make sure you're eating real food, not food that comes in a box. Eat food that came from nature. So lean in to more healthy foods and Eat Like a Girl. I've lists of them. So go get that book. But you're not doing something wrong. Your body is clogged somewhere, and either you need to go into a longer fast, you need to open up your detox pathways, or you need to clean up your food, the foods you're eating. And that will get you a better result in the fasted window. Okay, I got to interrupt this video because I have a free guide for you so you can master fasting. It's called A Beginner's Guide to a Fasting Lifestyle. And all you've got to do is click here and you can jump right in. The second part of this question, somebody asked, is there a bigger picture that I should be looking at? Is weight loss not the main reason we do this? Ooh, I love this one. The chronic statement I say all the time is, come to fasting. If you want to come to fasting to lose weight, welcome. But I hope you stay for all of the other amazing health benefits. And there's a lot of them. So if you go to Fast Like a Girl, I map out 6 different length fasts and what they are actually doing for you. So make sure you understand those 6 different lengths. I'll go over some of them right now. So when you fast, you are upregulating growth hormone. Growth hormone helps you burn fat and it helps slow down the aging. When you are fasting, you are also stimulating autophagy, which helps to clean out these cells and make your cells healthier. You are also stimulating intestinal stem cells and repairing your gut. You are going after stubborn fat, especially some of that visceral fat. You are improving your dopamine system. You are resetting your immune system. You are lowering inflammation. There are so many reasons why fasting is more than just weight loss. It is overall health. So the opposite way to address this question is to say, well, why does your body gain weight? All fat is that your body took all the excess, it didn't know what to do, and it put it in visceral fat. So it had extra glucose, it had extra hormones, it had extra toxins, and it stored it in fat. And it did that to save your life. So now when you go into the fasted state, you click over into this fat burning place. And when you're over here in this fat burning place, what ends up happening is your body gets rid of that excess. So yes, there is a bigger picture here. I love the weight I am. I love living in the body I live in. I do regular 15 to 24-hour fasts on a regular basis. I throw in all kinds of long fasts. I am there for longevity. I am there for disease prevention. I am there for brain clarity. It has been the greatest healing health habit tool I have ever found, and it is completely free. So stay for all that. Okay, next question that came in, which is about creatine. Ooh, this is so good. So creatine is my new favorite thing to put in my coffee. So this question is, can you discuss the benefits of taking creatine? And also, does it cause water weight gain in women? Is water weight something we should be worried about? Okay, there's a lot of information going out in the world right now about how menopausal women should be doing creatine. And the reason for creatine is because it helps with building muscle. Now, I want to walk us through this for a hot moment because muscle is super important for many things. Muscle brings you more insulin receptor sites, so there's more storage for glucose. So if you're trying to lose weight, you want more muscle. Muscle also helps with functionality. So when we go through menopause, it's very common to break down muscle because your adrenals are having to make a lot of hormones. And if the adrenals are under stress, they'll break down muscle to be able to grab some nutrients so that they can have the zip and the ability to make hormones. So you break down muscle. You have to fight for muscle when you go into those perimenopause and menopausal years. So can you discuss the benefits of creatine? Well, the creatine is helping you build muscle. It is a key nutrient that your body needs to build muscle strong again. And as we age, muscle is breaking down. Happens quicker to women than men, but muscle is breaking down. So by adding creatine in, you are giving yourself the ability to build muscle. Now, creatine by itself isn't necessarily going to build muscle. It's not like you can take a scoop of creatine and all of a sudden you start building muscle. You want to use creatine on a regular basis to be able to get more out of your workouts. So start doing strength training. I cannot emphasize enough, one of the best podcasts I did this year on the Resetter podcast was an interview with Dr. Stacy Sims, and we talk about building muscle and all the different ways to build muscle in menopausal women. And we talk about creatine. And one of the interesting things that I started doing differently after talking to Stacy is when I lift weights, I do the heaviest weight I possibly can do, but I only do a max of 8 reps. So for a menopausal woman, when we take creatine on a regular basis, we're priming those muscles for that stress factor of heavy weights, but don't go more than 8. And all of a sudden, you're going to see muscle growth like you've never seen before. I promise you, this is why everybody's so excited about creatine. Now, does it cause water weight in women? So this is interesting. Yes, it does in the beginning. In the beginning. So my recommendation to my patients always was when you first start taking creatine, whatever jar you get it in, it's a powder. I just bought one at my health food store recently. I don't have one that I'm partial to that I can tell you, but if you do 3 scoops of whatever the recommended, whatever scoop is in there, do 3 of them every day for the first week. This is called front loading. And you are front loading your creatine levels and building them up to where they are. When you do that the first week, you might notice that you feel a little like you've gained water weight, but hang in there because the next week I want you to go down to 1 scoop. And that one scoop, you should already have set your creatine loads, and you should start seeing this upside benefit of creatine and not the water weight. The water weight is temporary. So you may see the scale, the way the person asked us, water weight, should I be worried about it? I'm going to start seeing the number on the scale go up. If you do the mega dose of creatine, you may see the number go up. But then the next week, cut it down to one scoop, and you're going to start to see that water weight goes away. Now, I want to address this. Should I be worried about water weight? I mean, in some sense, water weight is, of course, not fun to live with. It makes you feel more padded. But the thing that what I've seen with creatine is that one of the things that causes the water weight is that there's an inability and an inflexibility, I should say, of your lymph system to move water through your body. So we're back at lymph. How can we increase lymph flow? We can do it by walking. We can do it by rebounding. We can do it by sweating. Put yourself in a sauna. All of those can make a huge difference. So water weight is only worrisome, not because of the number on the scale. It's worrisome because it's an indicator that the lymph isn't moving. And if your lymph isn't moving, then yes, we have a bigger problem that is more of a problem than just the scale. So think that through. And you to make the best choice for yourself. Now, one last thing I want to bring to all of your attention on this visceral fat idea. One of the things we know about visceral fat is that it is white fat, and white fat is hard to burn. It's that hard fat, like we talked about at the beginning of this video. So if you want to burn fat easier, you want to make sure that you are changing white fat into brown fat. Brown fat is easier to burn. Fasting does that. A fasting lifestyle on a regular basis. And this is just intermittent fasting. This isn't any like fancy long fast, but this is when you are intermittent fasting on a regular basis. What you are doing is you're taking this visceral white fat and you are moving it into brown fat so that when you exercise, when you go into a keto diet, when you go into longer fasts, that brown fat becomes really easy to burn. I've done videos on brown fat, and I'm sure my team will put some links in here. But another really interesting way to get brown fat is cold plunging. This is why cold plunging has taken over the world, is that it takes the hard visceral white fat and turns it into brown fat. So if you are struggling with this visceral fat, if you're struggling to lose weight, if you're struggling with belly fat, try some cold plunges. I like doing a sauna and then a cold plunge. I think that works amazing. You don't have to have a fancy cold plunge. Just get a bag of ice and fill your tub up with cold water and put the bag of ice in there and get in your bathtub. And you want to be in there anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes. I find that at about 3 minutes, I start shivering, and that's when I get out. So you can use the shiver test as a sign of when you get out. Wait till you start shivering. Once you start shivering, that would be a great exit time. So really understanding that fat, is not because your genetics aren't working against you. Fat is not happening because the universe is cursing you. Fat is not happening because you're undisciplined. Fat is happening because we are living in a time where our food system has poured toxins into our food. And those toxins, including these harmful oils, are known obesogens. I have a whole section on obesogens and Eat Like a Girl. And these obesogens your body doesn't know what to do with it. So it stores it in fat. And if we keep putting these obesogens in over and over and over again, the body keeps shuttling it to fat. And then eventually it ends up as visceral fat. So knowing obesogens is really important. This is why in Eat Like a Girl, I have a whole list of obesogens that I would really encourage you to get to know and avoid. The other challenge we have with obesogens is that obesogens will hijack your stem cells and they will tell your stem cells to make fat cells. So I'll tell you one that is a horrible food product. It's a drink product that so many people are drinking thinking they're going to lose weight, and they're not. And that is diet soda. Diet soda has a chemical in it called aspartame. Aspartame spikes insulin. It has an obesogen in it, so it reprograms your stem cells. It increases hunger, and you chose to do a diet soda over a regular soda because you wanted to lose weight. But on a chemical level, it's actually causing you to gain weight as much as the Coke. I am not a fan of soda. And whether it's diet or real, none of them work for us. Both of them make you fat. So get off of the diet sodas because they're reprogramming your body to just make more and more fat. Same with a lot of the diet drinks or diet foods in general. Those chemicals are actually causing you to gain weight, which is why principle number 2 of the Foundational 5 in my Eat Like a Girl book is eat nature's food, not human-made food. Let's get back to eating what's come from the earth. Let's get out of the grocery stores. Let's get into the farmers markets. Get to know your farmer, because the grocery store has become this dangerous place to navigate. And I'm trying to educate you all here on this, on my videos and in my books. A podcast that I did that is phenomenal, if you want more information on this topic, is Jay Shetty. Go check out that interview I did with Jay Shetty. It was excellent. It was about food. It was about obesogens. It was about how we get out of this mess that we're in. But I just couldn't do a video on visceral fat without ending it with that thought and how important it is for us to start to get to know these ingredients, start to read these ingredients, start to understand what's in our food. So as always, let me know if that helps. But if a beautiful platform, free platform like YouTube and my Resetter podcast, all free, can deliver information to you, and you take that information and you put it into action and it saves your life, then every moment I've done one of these interviews or one of these videos is well worth it. And if this resonates with you, as always, share it with a friend. Okay? Don't give up on yourself. I promise you, it's gotten crazy in the health world right now, but you hold the power, and it's through knowledge that you will change your life. So, as always, I hope that helps. Okay, you're not losing belly fat. I get it. Watch this video so you know exactly how to get rid of your belly fat. So I really want you to remember that cortisol and belly fat, those go hand in hand. So as your belly is growing, it's not always diet related. It can also be stress related.